I got a question for you. You know the thing that we used to do as kids? You know, we'd do that thing.
A lot of things, yeah.
Would you let yours
No.
today on the show?
The times they have a change.
Yeah, things change, situations change, people and places change.
Yeah. And there are things that we used to do as kids that were completely normal. I mean, everyday,
Accepted.
totally normal things that nowadays kids, our kids,
Yeah.
would never get away with.
No, definitely not in certain situations or certain locations. I definitely would not let any of my kids when they were younger do some of the things we got away with.
No, I mean, and there's simple things like for example, we could ride our bikes for long distances when we were kids.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And now, I mean, it's you stay within line of sight, and that way we know you're safe. I mean, that we're not talking about stuff like that. I guess we are, but more than that. And that's kind of what we're talking about today.
Well, like one of the biggest things is I only had to come back and check in every couple hours.
Right.
I could literally go and say, hey, Mom, here's my plan for the day. I'm going to go to this person's house, and we're going to go play baseball, and I'll see you probably at 2 or 3 o'clock afterwards. Yeah. And that was totally acceptable. It's fine. It wasn't a big deal.
We lived out in the country a lot when I was a kid, so, we used to go play out, there were large areas of fields or woods or whatever the case may be, and we would I remember living in Fort Smith, Arkansas when I was probably 4th grade in that area. There was a giant wooded area behind our house, and then there was a big levee behind that and stuff like that. We used to ride our bikes back there all the time, every day. We were gone for hours at a time in the woods, to where now, I mean, God knows what you'd run into back there.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's any number of things, drunks, druggies, whatever. But yeah, we used to play in the woods all the time around Doling Park and back in there in the quarry before it filled up. We used to ride the trails out by Ritter Springs.
Curfew used to be when the street lights came on.
Yep, when street lights came on, that was curfew. Now, a little side note, I said that they wouldn't do certain things in certain situations. I did raise two of my kids, actually I raised all 3 of them, in a really small town up north, where literally everybody knew everybody, but that was different. I mean, different situation. I would not let any of my kids at any age right now out to street lights in Springfield. No. Another one is parents didn't need to know everybody else's parents. They were just as cool with being, oh yeah, you're going over to Mark's house? Fine, just go ahead and go. Now it's like, I need to know who the parents are. I need to have emergency contacts. I need to know where they're going to be at. All of this extra stuff that makes me feel safe as a parent. That my parents didn't need.
And you could even take it to the other side of things too. I mean, even as far as discipline goes. When we were kids, we got the crap beat out of us.
Yeah, and I don't.
For every little thing,
we turned out
bad. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Part. Well, I mean, but we are. We're not felons. We're not abusive people.
No.
We're not. Whatever. All of these things that supposedly the abuse will lead to. Every single one of the people that are grown-ups that are parents now, that was totally normal then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know if I talked back to my parents when I was a kid, I'd get slapped across the face.
Oh, yeah.
That's normal.
My grandpa used to go make me cut my own switch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nowadays,
absolutely.
no.
And if you got a bad one, if you got one that, that was too broad or whatever, then it was twice as bad.
Yeah, it was twice as bad. Another thing that was interesting is now, back when I was growing up, how I learned how to swim, I got tossed into a spring.
Right.
A small creek spring type thing. Now it's like, I need to go take your kids to a pool. They need to pay somebody to learn. My grandpa's like, he sinks or swims. It's just like, okay.
You could go, all of our playground stuff.
Oh, yeah, the playground.
Metal, rusted, paint flaking off of it.
We didn't need any kind of rubber or the ground was good enough.
Yeah. Dirt.
Dirt. Tetherball. You don't see tetherball anymore. Right. I got more black eyes playing tetherball than I think I did anything else.
Yeah.
Another one is...
I mean, the merry-go-round when we were kids. I mean, you still have merry-go-rounds now, but the ones that we had when we were kids were like, they're all wobbly and stuff. I mean, the thing was a death trap.
And you
But
love to be on the edge.
Oh God, yeah. It was. I mean, challenging for who can stand the longest while it goes as fast. Who can hang off the sides. Doing Superman off the swings, doing all sorts of just
and
stupid stuff.
We didn't think about getting hurt.
No.
I mean, I'm sure we did, but we bounced up. We were kids. We rolled away. We dusted.
Kids are the most resilient things on this planet.
Yeah, let them play.
Right. I mean, and we wonder why kids today are becoming so horrible. I mean, you take away the ability to truly discipline them. I mean, respect is taught. It's earned. It's earned. Not just given. Mm-hmm. If they have no reference point, then you are just that mean person that tells them what to do all the time.
Yeah.
And of course they're gonna lash out, but they're too. We wrap them in bubble wrap pretty much, keep them in this safe little bubble, to where it's not necessary, people. It's not necessary.
I tried not to allow that to happen with my kids. In fact, my son, who's now 19 and living on his own and has his own societally approved job, I used to let him ride his bike into a garage door to learn how to ride it. Without a helmet, guys. Yeah. Without a helmet. I never rode with a helmet.
Never once.
I don't know. I've got scars over my eyes where I wrecked bikes.
Yeah.
Please.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's times where I had to learn to, okay, I'm about to crash. There's a ditch over here. I can land in a soft grass ditch, or I can face plant on the pavement.
Yeah, on the pavement. And I had
aiming for the ditch.
And I'm sure you had your fair share of road rash on the arm and the knees.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what else? Roller skating.
Oh God, I actually remember one of the worst fall injury things I ever got. I've never broken a bone. I chipped a bone in my arm, and it wasn't anything from when I was a kid. But I was roller skating. I was probably 12, 13 maybe. And it was a roller skating place, rink where they still had like the wooden floors. And the floors this place was ancient. So the floors were all warped. Well, I had just your house skates. And these were just your old four wheels. Mm-hmm. They weren't, they weren't rollerblades or anything. But the shoelace got tangled in the wheel.
Oh, God, Lord,
so
I had that happen.
I'm going pretty fast. You got Bella barking in the background.
Barking in the background.
I'm going pretty fast. And it gets wrapped around. Well, I just suddenly, one foot came to a stop.
Abrupt stop.
And I just went flying. I mean, I was airborne.
Mm-hmm.
And I landed, slid across my face. So my whole arm was just blood and road rash on my face. Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
I think that we as parents nowadays...
And you know what I did?
I
got up, I cleaned myself off, I fixed my skates, and I went back to skating.
Because that's what we did. I don't know how many bike wrecks I would then bang out or straighten my rim so I could ride home.
Yeah.
Chain
totally
comes
normal.
off. I would. Hey, Billy, you got a screwdriver so I can fix my chain, and done. We went, and we didn't have to organize play dates in order for us to be socialized. We just went around the neighborhood.
If you didn't have friends to play with, you went out by yourself.
Yeah.
And then you would just meet people that were also out playing by themselves, and then you just play together. And
we would literally wander neighborhoods and say, hey, can so-and-so come out and play? Oh, okay. Then I'll go to the next kid's house.
Yeah.
And
we didn't have cell phones. You had to actually call somebody. And it helped. When we were kids, we didn't even have answering machines.
No.
I mean, it was just they either picked up the phone or they didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't know who was calling. Or you just simply showed up on their front door, knocking on the door, asking if they can come out and play.
Yeah. Can so-and-so come out and play today? Oh, well, yes, he can. Or no, he's grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. And grounding. I got grounded, and I actually got grounded, guys.
I spent more time in my teenage years grounded for things that I never even did. I mean, let's face it, I was the black sheep in my family, but so I mean, there was a lot of things they were, I guess, just so used to getting in trouble for things that I ended up getting in trouble for a lot of things that I didn't do. But that's another story for another time. But yeah, point is, I mean, no TV, no phone, no games, no visitors, no nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, you basically sat in your room doing nothing. Reading a book, or
I did
doing
a
homework,
lot of reading,
or just staring at the walls, or whatever. no music, no nothing. I mean, if it was something that could be entertaining,
you didn't do
Nope.
it. Yeah, no, you didn't do it unless it was literally a book. 'Cause
Yeah.
I read a lot of books I probably would have never read.
See, I didn't even get the books.
and-
I got. You can do your homework, you can study.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if it's something that you can do that you will enjoy, you don't get to do it. So for me, it was like not allowed to draw, not allowed to read comics. I mean, it was nothing. I stared at blank walls.
And you got to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I think kids aren't okay with being able to do nothing. We touched on it in the past with fidget spinners back in the day, where kids have to be doing something with their hands in order for them to calm down. We didn't have that stuff, guys. We were told you calm yourself down, or we got set in a room.
Yeah.
Where you had no choice but to go, wow. 1,
And
2,
now I'm
3.
bored.
Let me count the ceiling tiles and how many cracks and how many pieces of wood are on the floor. And this is the kind of things that we grew up with that nowadays seems almost alien for kids to have.
Yeah. No, I mean, we understand that times are different, and that I mean, that was kind of the idea
Yeah.
here, was that a lot of things that we did as a kid, you couldn't do nowadays,
No.
even if you wanted to.
No.
I would never let my child, ride a bike off into the woods somewhere, trails or not. Would never let her ride off into the woods alone.
No, there's way
To
too
just
much.
go ride. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's way too much could go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, in broad daylight, she could ride off and you'd never see her again.
Never see her again. And that's, unfortunately, I think the society we now live in is where kids aren't even safe in their own front yard.
Right.
And I hate to say that.
Well, I mean, did you see the story that was just this came out just very recently? There was a man in a grocery store. There was a woman with her child, like a 3-month-old child or 8-month-old child, and a guy just wandered up, just picked the kid up out of the cart, and held the kid hostage with a knife to its throat for like the next 3 hours. I mean, that's at a grocery store in the middle of the day. This is the world we live in now. Where back then, I mean, it just didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
I mean, it happened, but it wasn't so commonplace that you had to really worry about it.
Yeah. I'm always worried when, I now have a teenager who's going to be a freshman, and I'm still worried when she goes places with her friends. I mean, she's a big girl. I mean, she's 5'4". And I've taught her self-defense. I've taught her weapons arts, stuff like that. But it's still, somebody my size or your size can overpower her without any problems. And somebody's trying to overpel. If you can hear that.
I don't know if the mic is picking this up, but we have El Chapo in the next room keeping Bella, the puppy, if you've seen the puppy, keeping her entertained, and just the noises coming.
She's trying to be vicious as a puppy. It's hilarious.
It's very cute and very funny.
But I mean, that's the world we live in. That's the times we live in. So,
and it's sad. It's very sad.
what do you guys think? Let's open the conversation up to you. What kind of things do you not allow your children to do that you got to do?
Yeah.
Or things and places that you got to go that you wouldn't?
Things that were normal when you were a kid that your kids now
Oh.
you would never even consider.
Party lines.
Yeah.
Picking
Yeah.
up the phone and having another person talking when you needed to make a phone call.
Right.
Yeah. Not happened today because
It's all cell phones.
everybody has a cell phone. Mm-hmm. So I think that about does it for today's episode.
Yeah. It's kind of took a little more somber of a tone than we had intended on here, but still, just wanted to open up for conversation, and like Danny said, so I mean, what's something that you did as a kid, something that was completely normal for you to do as a kid that you would never even consider letting your kids do now?
Yeah.
Put those down in the comments below. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and make sure you do all the YouTubes as well. Do the sharing and the commenting and the liking and the subscribing and yeah, bring your friends in. We mentioned it yesterday. We're going to mention it again. Tomorrow. That's your challenge for tomorrow is grab a friend who's never watched the show before, bring them in, show them your favorite episode. Doesn't have to be this one, doesn't have to be today's episode. Just show them your favorite episode to date. Say, this is kind of what we do. If you've got a show, a topic that you would like us to discuss, because again, this whole week really was kind of suggested to us. So put those down in the comments, and we will visit those on a future date.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And as always,
I'm John from Paragould, and this is the Russian clip of the day.